Call to order the City Council meeting for City of East Grand Forks for Tuesday, February 19th, 2019. It's now 5 o'clock. City Clerk, please call roll.
Mayor Steve Gander.
Here.
Council President Mark Olstead.
Here.
Council Vice President Chad Grassel.
Here.
Council Members Clarence Vetter.
Here.
Dell Helms, Tim Riopel.
Here.
Tim Johnson.
Here.
Mark Demers.
Does the term in accordance, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
An open forum and opportunity for members of the public to address City Council on items not on the current agenda. Items requiring council action may be deferred to staff, boards, and commissions for research and future council agendas if appropriate. If you'd like to address City Council this time, please come out to the podium to do so. I see none. Approval of minutes for February 5th regular meeting and February 12th work session. Moved by Grass.
Second.
Second by Riopel. Any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Grassel.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Riopel.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Olstead.
Yes. Motion is carried. Scheduled bid lettings, none. Scheduled public hearings, none. Consent agenda. Items under the consent agenda will be adopted with one motion. However, members may choose to pull items if can't even talk today. Excuse me. Pull from the consent agenda for discussion and action if they choose. Anyone like items 3 or 4 pulled? I see none. Motion for 3 and 4.
I'll move 3 and 4.
Moved by Riopel.
Second.
Second by Vetter. Any questions or discussion? See none. Roll call, please.
Grassel.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Riopel.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Olstead.
Yes. Motion is carried. Acknowledge receipt of reports of officers, boards, and commissions. There's none. Communication, there's none. Old business, there's none. Move on to new business. Number 5, consider adopting resolution number 19-02-16, authorizing the city engineer to request quotes for the 2018 city project number 3, parking lot improvements.
I'll move.
Moved by Grassel. There's a motion by Grassel. Is there a second? I'll make the motion for second. Any questions or discussion?
Mr. Emery, do you have anything else that you would want to add from our, I don't mean to do it that way, but anything else you want to tell us about?
No, I really don't. I mean, I think we kind of discussed everything at the work session, you know, hopefully by breaking out that sidewalk, you know, driveway work, you know, kind of helped everyone understand too that, you know, there was some work there that wasn't associated with the parking lot that, again, is going to have to be completed at some time by the city regardless of this project. So,
Mayor.
So, we have a parking lot. We have a gravel surface right now that people park on. It's been that way for 20 years. All of us know about that. It lies in a downtown commercial district, which would call for mixed use, which would call for commercial on the main floor of any development with the possibility for apartments above for people to live in. I don't know at this moment what our demand for commercial space is in our downtown. We do have some spaces available, and I think if people were going to want to open a business or a restaurant or other industry applicable to a downtown commercial district, they have lots of other options right now for where to locate that. So I'm not sure how soon we're going to need that. I don't prefer to sell it for a parking lot. I think we want to hold it open for development of just the right venue that would come along. If we had, say, for example, Hugo's came and said we'd like to put in a corner market in that spot or something like that, that would be ideal. And then you could bring in the use above and there you'd have it. But I don't foresee that immediately, and I don't see it in the condition that it's in. We have really neglected it for 20 years since the flood. It looks like someone ripped a building out of there and just left a bare lot and did really not much to it. And on a prominent corner of our downtown, and again, not knowing how soon we need that inventory for an appropriate structure, it's by that whole process. And of course, if it's true that it's not needed for a while, if we don't anticipate it being needed for a while, maybe it could be used to actually strengthen existing businesses around it, like the VFW, like the Up North Pizza, whomever else might need it. So that's how I came to the place that I am. I know I've had a conversation with some of you on a willingness to share some of the costs of parking lot maintenance with our downtown businesses. I would support that. I would encourage us to move toward that, which would ultimately, every parking lot that we have, it needs maintenance, whether it's to seal the cracks, to stripe it, and ultimately to replace it at some point in the future. And a comprehensive plan for that, I think, is important. And the cost should be shared by some of the business, by the businesses that benefit. So to me, this is all part of that conversation. Appropriate parking surfaces for businesses in our downtown. And this 20-year gravel, we can do better. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mayor. Anybody else have anything? See none. Roll call, please.
Grassel,
Yes.
Vetter,
No.
Riepel,
No.
Johnson,
No.
Olsted.
Yes, motion fails. Move on to number 6, consider approving the purchase of trees from Wagner's Landscaping, Inc. for trees for a total amount of $68,600 for the tree project along the spillway by 23rd Street Northwest. Is there a
Well,
motion?
first of all, I just want to make sure
Can I get a
everybody has
motion
any
first?
questions on it. That's
Need
why
a
I'm
motion
here.
first.
Motion.
Oh,
Can I
I'm
get a
sorry.
motion?
Move.
Moved by Vetter.
Second.
Second by Riepel. Carla.
It's a project that the city and Water and Light were doing together. Water and Light actually put in for a grant, which they were denied. And so the project is planning on moving forward with the Water and Light actually funding for the trees. And so these are the quotes that Water and Light received for those. For our county purposes and for the project purposes, we'd like to actually run the project through the city. So we would purchase the trees, Water and Light would reimburse us for the cost. Water and Light would use their own employees for watering after that first week that Wagner's would do it. The other reason they looked at Wagner's is because of they're going to actually move the trees that they have growing out on their property, so they'll be light kind soil. So that's all we're asking. They had already taken the bid, so we're asking for you to approve it. They've already approved it.
Do we have any questions at this time? See none. Roll call, please.
Grassel,
Yes.
Vetter,
Yes.
Riepel.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Olsted.
Yes, motion is carried. Number 7, claims. Consider authorizing the city administrator clerk treasurer to issue payment of recommended bills and payroll.
Move.
Moved by Riepel.
Second.
Second by Vetter. Any questions or discussion? See none. Roll call, please.
Grassel,
Yes.
Vetter,
Yes.
Riepel.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Olsted.
Yes, motion is carried. Mayor Gander.
Since last we met, I had occasion to gather with Chief Master Sergeant Brian Thomas of the Grand Forks Air Force Base, saying goodbye to him as he moves on to his next post. Colonel Ben Spencer, who is the local commander, will be moving on this summer. And so we'll have opportunity to meet with new leadership on the Grand Forks Air Force Base starting sometime this summer, and hopefully we'll take time to do that. The connection that we have with the Grand Forks Air Force Base is important for them and also important for us. A lot of their airmen live in our community, and certainly a lot of them come here to visit and enjoy the nightlife. Many of them are educated in our schools, especially at Northland, but also in our public schools. So that connection is great. Let's look forward to the time when they have the change of command coming up this summer and make sure to maintain that good connection there. Also spoke to a group of Webelos since we met about how the city works in all the departments, from public safety to public works to library to parks and rec to everything that we do. And by the end of it, the kids were a little hyper, and the parents were saying, whoa, I did not ever stop to consider all the services that we receive here as people living in East Grand Forks. And it's good for them to hear that. It's a value, really, for their tax dollars and the services that they get. And so I enjoyed that. Other than that, that's it.
Mr. Vetter.
I don't have anything, thank you.
Mr. Riepel.
I'd like to thank a couple of my neighbors who took the initiative to clean out a fire hydrant by our house that was buried in about 4 or 5 feet of snow, and they dug 10 feet in, 4 feet down, and Jeff King and Ryan Bartz that did a fantastic job. I supervised well, too.
Mr. Johnson.
I have nothing.
Mr. Grassel.
Nothing.
I have a couple things. If you got to notice, if you're attending the intergovernmental meeting this Friday, it starts a little bit earlier, 11:45 start time, so it's a few minutes earlier. Looks like Colin Peterson is going to be present also. So if you're able to attend and be reserved, wonderful. Hope to see you there. Also, I did email everybody the proposed governor's budget that he came out with today. Please go in there and take a look at it. He did put in there a change of increase of $30 million for LGA. We'll be going down next week to start talking more about getting our formula changed for the city of East Grand Forks. So very positive to see that he's going to add into the LGA. Hopefully he's on board with changing our formula. So I think there'll be 4 of us going down, the mayor, Mr. Demers, Mr. Murphy, and myself next Wednesday. So look forward to that trip. Other than that, I do not have anything. Mr. Murphy.
I only have one thing, and that is the Charter Commission meeting that was scheduled for tonight has been canceled due to lack of a quorum, so we will meet next month on the 19th.
Okay. Mr. Gulfstead.
Nothing unless there's any questions for me.
Mr. Emery.
I have nothing tonight.
Anything from the department heads tonight? Carla.
I just wanted to mention that the Water and Light typically has a lighting project, which is the street lights, which actually it's the city's property, and they are planning on changing them to LED lights. And so speaking with Water and Light, we have talked about the city would buy the supplies for those, since it's actually our asset, and they would install them, and they would pay with their salaries. Because at the end of the year, we'd actually do a transfer for the capital asset anyway. So we're just looking at if possible, we could just buy the supplies and parts. The city would buy them ourselves. And then it'd be like having them as our consultant to do the job, but we would buy the parts. So we just want to make sure that would be okay with everybody. Or just a heads up, we will bring it to the council meeting just like I did with other things, but we just kind of wanted to let you be aware of that's what we're talking about doing.
Thank you. Mr. Gordy, do you have something, sir?
Just following up on what you said, President Olmstead, if you're attending the retreat on Friday and have not already done so, if you'll let me know before you leave this evening, I'll make sure the chamber is aware so that you will have a lunch at the meeting as well.
Thank you, sir. Anything from anybody else? Not entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Moved by Grassel. Second by Riepel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned.